Every morning, before the sun even cracks the horizon, the world splits into two kinds of people: those who drift and those who rise. The drifters wake up heavy, chained by their own apathy. They roll over, hit snooze, and let the comfort of the pillow swallow them whole. Their first thoughts are excuses. I'm tired. I need rest. It won't matter if I start tomorrow. They move through the morning half awake, staring into the glowing screen of their phone, scrolling endlessly, numbing themselves, hoping that somewhere in the noise, a spark will ignite and push them forward. But that spark never comes. The hours slip away. The day dissolves into monotony. And when the night falls, they sit in the silence, telling themselves the same tired lie. Tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow isn't different. Tomorrow is just another mirror of the same wasted hours, the same broken promises, the same quiet surrender. And then, there are the others, the ones who rise, the ones who wake up with purpose burning in their veins and rage in their lungs, who attack the day like it owes them a debt. They don't wait for motivation. They don't pray for inspiration. They move. Not because they feel like it, but because they understand something the rest of the world refuses to face. The clock is always ticking, and every second spent in hesitation is a second they will never get back. These people aren't special. They aren't lucky. They aren't chosen by some higher power. They've simply decided to stop living as passengers in their own lives, decided to stop waiting for permission, decided to become the kind of person who builds instead of waits, who acts instead of dreams, who creates instead of complains. And because of that decision, that relentless commitment, they rise. They rise when they don't want to. They rise when it hurts. They rise when every voice in their head screams to quit. Understand this. The difference between those who drift and those who rise is not talent, not opportunity, not chance. It's choice. Brutal, unrelenting choice. Repeated every single day until it becomes who they are. And if you want to join them, if you want to stop existing and start living, there are 3 truths you need to understand. 3 truths that will rip apart your excuses, burn away the weakness you've been coddling, and leave you forged, sharp, and unstoppable. This is not a speech meant to inspire you for a moment. This is not about hype or motivation. This is reality. And reality doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't wait for you to feel brave. It doesn't pause because you're scared, or tired, or unsure. Reality keeps moving. And if you don't rise and move with it, it will leave you behind. Now listen closely, because everything changes from here. If you're ready to stop drifting, to stop existing, to finally rise and take control of your life, then you need to understand this. Purpose isn't an accident. It isn't luck. It's built, brick by brick, through choices that most people will never have the courage to make. There are 3 pillars of purpose, 3 unshakable truths that separate the ones who rise from the ones who stay chained to mediocrity. Grasp them, live them, and your entire existence will change. Ignore them, and you'll stay exactly where you are, waiting, wishing, wasting away. Let's break them down. Pillar 1. Purpose is built through service. You've been lied to. They told you to chase passion, to follow happiness, to do what feels good. And look where it got you. Empty, restless, stuck. Because here's the truth. Happiness is a byproduct, not the foundation. Fulfillment doesn't come from taking more for yourself. It comes from giving, from serving, from carrying the weight of others on your back when the world wants you to drop it. Purpose is not something you find. It's something you build. And it's built when you stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "Who can I help? Whose burden can I lighten? Whose fight can I make easier?" When you live for yourself, your power has limits. The moment things get hard, the moment the results don't come fast enough, you fold. You quit because your fight is tied to your comfort. But when your mission is bigger than you, when your drive is anchored in the service of others, that's when you become unstoppable. Imagine waking up every day knowing that someone is depending on you. Someone is watching you. Someone is praying you don't quit. Because if you rise, they believe they can rise too. That's the kind of pressure that transforms you. That's the kind of weight that sharpens every action, every decision, every moment of your life. Think about it. When have you been your strongest? When have you been the most disciplined, the most relentless, the most unshakable? It wasn't when life was easy. It wasn't when you were comfortable. It was when you had someone to fight for, when your pain had a purpose bigger than your own survival. You want to build a body that commands respect? Don't just train for you. Train for the people who need you alive and strong. You want financial freedom? Don't just stack money for yourself. Build something that feeds your family, your community, the people you love. You want unshakable confidence? Stop living like the center of the universe and start serving like you were born to lead. Service gives you something selfishness never will: an endless source of energy. Because when it's just about you, you burn out. But when it's about others, when it's about legacy, there is no finish line. There's only the next step, the next mission, the next person you can lift higher. Understand this. Service is the great amplifier. You want more money? Help other people earn theirs. You want more love? Give it freely, without conditions, until it floods back to you. You want discipline? Serve a mission so powerful that quitting feels like betrayal. The irony is brutal, but simple. The more you give, the more you grow. The more you pour out, the more life pours back in. But most people will never taste that reality because they're too busy chasing shortcuts, too busy making everything about themselves. They wonder why they feel empty, why every win feels hollow. It's because their victories are shallow. They built their castles in sand, and the first storm swept it all away. But when you build through service, the foundation is unshakable. You stop chasing and start creating. You stop waiting for the world to hand you something and start becoming the force that moves the world. And here's the dark truth most won't admit. Serving others doesn't just change them. It changes you. It hardens you. It humbles you. It strips away the ego and forces you to rise as something greater than what you were yesterday. The man who serves becomes disciplined because he has no choice. He becomes powerful because he must be. He becomes a leader, not because he wanted the title, but because the mission demanded it. And that's why the ones who rise, the ones who dominate their space, all share this in common. They've tied their purpose to something beyond themselves. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter if you're broke, lost, broken, or starting at rock bottom. You can decide today that your life isn't just about you anymore. You can decide today that you will take your pain, your lessons, your strength, and use them to serve someone else. And when you do, the game changes. The world shifts. Opportunities that were invisible before will start appearing. Doors you didn't even know existed will start opening. Not because you got lucky, but because you stopped living like a passenger and started living like a leader. This is the foundation. This is the first pillar. Until you anchor your life in service, until you stop making it about you, you will always feel that emptiness gnawing at you. Purpose is built when you decide that your life will mean something to someone other than yourself. This is where you start building a life that can't be shaken. This is where drifting ends and rising begins. Pillar 2. Your purpose sits next to your pain. Most people spend their entire lives running from the truth that could set them free. They bury it. They avoid it. They build walls around their wounds and call it healing. But deep down, they know the scar is still raw. Here's the reality you've been avoiding. Your purpose is sitting right next to your pain. It's not hiding in comfort. It's not found in the easy victories or the quiet days where nothing tests you. No. Your purpose was born the moment you were broken. Think back to your darkest hour, the betrayal, the loss, the failure, the moment that almost destroyed you. Most people take that moment, shove it into a box, and bury it as deep as they can. They live in denial, pretending it never happened, telling themselves that ignoring it makes them strong. But you and I both know the truth. It's still there. And until you face it, you will never rise. Because inside that pain, inside the moments you wish you could erase, is the raw blueprint of who you were meant to become. That wound taught you things comfort never could. It taught you resilience when the world tried to break you. It taught you clarity when the noise faded, and all you had left was survival. It taught you that even at rock bottom, you could still breathe, still crawl, still fight. And that's why your purpose is there, waiting, just on the other side of the pain you've been running from. Your scars aren't weaknesses. They're weapons. They're proof. Proof that you endured the storm and came out alive. Proof that you can't be broken the same way twice. Proof that you've been through the fire and have the burns to show for it. But here's where most people fail. They hide those scars. They cover them up because they're afraid of what people will think. They fear the judgment, the whispers, the labels. They spend their lives trying to look whole, trying to play a part, when the very thing they're hiding is the key to their strength. You have to understand this. Your mess is your message. That shame you carry, someone else is carrying it too, and they're drowning. That story you've never told because it hurts too much. Someone out there needs to hear it to believe they can survive their own storm. When you take your pain and you turn it outward, when you decide to stop being a victim of your story and start using it to guide others, everything changes. Your suffering stops being just suffering. It becomes service. It becomes fuel. It becomes the fire that drives you to build, to lead, to rise. Think about the people you respect the most. The ones whose words cut deep, whose actions inspire you to move. They didn't get there because life was easy. They didn't rise because everything went right. They rose because they took their darkness and weaponized it. They turned their rock bottom into a foundation and built something unshakable on top of it. That is what you must do. Stop running from what happened to you. Stop burying it. Stop pretending it didn't matter. Look it in the eye. Drag it into the light. Let it hurt. Let it bleed. Let it tear you open. Because on the other side of that pain is clarity, power, and purpose that comfort will never give you. You don't need to be proud of what happened. You don't need to celebrate the scars, but you must own them. Because once you do, once you stop hiding, once you decide to use that pain as fuel, you'll find a strength that the world can't touch. And here's the dark beauty of it. When you start sharing that pain, when you let others see the scars and understand the fight, you give them permission to rise too. You show them that survival is possible. You become the proof they needed. Your purpose lives there, in the very places you swore you'd never revisit. And until you have the courage to face that darkness, you will never step fully into the life you were meant to live. Because pain is the perfect teacher. It doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It strips you bare and forces you to see exactly what you're made of. And if you let it, it will shape you into something sharp enough to cut through the noise of this world. So stop running. Stop hiding. Go back to that moment, the one you've been avoiding. Stand in it. Own it. And then use it to build something so powerful that the world has no choice but to pay attention. That's the second pillar. And until you embrace it, you'll never understand why you've been restless all these years. Because your purpose isn't somewhere out there waiting for you to find it. It's been sitting right beside your pain the entire time, waiting for you to finally stop pretending you don't see it. Pillar 3. Your intuition is screaming. Stop lying to yourself. Deep down, you already know what you're meant to do. You've always known. That vision you keep shoving to the back of your mind, that fire that flickers every time you think about the life you want, but keep telling yourself you can't have. That's not a fantasy. That's not some random thought. That is your intuition, screaming at you, begging you to wake up. And yet, you ignore it. You smother it with excuses. You drown it out with distractions. You convince yourself that you're not ready, that you need more time, that the stars need to align, that you need permission, approval, money, validation. But that's a lie. It's always been a lie. Here's the truth. Your intuition doesn't whisper. It roars. It tells you over and over, this is the way. This is who you're meant to become. And every time you hesitate, every time you say not yet, every time you silence that voice, a piece of you dies. You think you're playing it safe, but what you're really doing is wasting time. Time you will never get back. The clock is ticking, and while you sit there waiting for the perfect moment, someone out there, someone with less talent, less skill, less experience, is moving. They're building. They're taking the opportunities you think you're not ready for. And every day you hesitate, they pull further ahead, leaving you behind in the dust of your own indecision. Understand this. Clarity doesn't come before action. You don't wait until you figure it out to start. You move first, you stumble forward, you take messy, imperfect action, and in that motion the path reveals itself. But you've been paralyzed by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. You're so afraid of falling that you never take the first step. And so you stay where you are, trapped, stuck, watching the life you want slip further and further away. No, enough. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a sign from the universe to begin. The only sign you need is the voice inside you that hasn't stopped calling. That idea you keep circling back to. That vision you see when you're alone in the dark, imagining what life could be if you stopped hesitating. That's your soul trying to break free. That's your potential begging you to stop wasting it. So stop waiting. Stop telling yourself you'll start next week, or next month, or when things settle down. There is no right time. There is only now. Move, even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if you have no idea what the next 10 steps look like. Take the first one, then take the second. Momentum is built in motion, and motion is the one thing fear can't survive. Because here's what happens when you finally listen. Doors open. Opportunities appear. The world bends for those who take decisive action. And the voice inside, the one you've been ignoring, finally quiets. Not because it's gone, but because you've proven you're willing to honor it. But here's the other side, the brutal side. Every time you ignore that intuition, every time you silence that calling, you dig the hole deeper. Regret takes root. Resentment grows. And one day, you'll look back and realize the only thing standing between you and the life you wanted was you. And regret? Regret is a prison you'll never escape. So here's the command, not a suggestion. Act. Send the message. Start the business. Take the trip. Write the book. Launch the project. Have the conversation. Whatever it is, stop letting fear dictate the terms of your existence. Because that voice inside you, the one that never shuts up, the one that screams every time you close your eyes, it won't stop. It will haunt you until you do something with it. That's the third pillar, the one that separates the ones who rise from the ones who rot, the ones who build from the ones who drift. Your intuition is the raw map to your purpose. It's your higher self screaming through the noise, pointing you toward the life you're meant to live. And if you ignore it long enough, if you keep pretending you don't hear it, you won't just lose time. You'll lose yourself. The brutal truth. Now you know. And once you know, there's no going back. There's no more pretending you don't understand why you feel hollow when you drift through the days. No more hiding behind lies like, I'm not ready, or I'll start tomorrow. Every second you spend in hesitation is a second of your life that dies, never to return. And if you think you can keep living that way, wasting time, letting fear write your story, then understand this. Time will not forgive you. It will carve your regret into your bones until the weight of it crushes you. This world doesn't reward the passive. It doesn't crown the hesitant. It doesn't care how tired you are, how scared you are, or how many excuses you've rehearsed to explain why you haven't moved. The world bows only to those who rise. Those who choose service over selfishness, those who take the pain that nearly destroyed them and forge it into a blade sharp enough to cut through every obstacle. Those who stop ignoring that relentless voice inside and finally act on the truth they've always known. Purpose is not some mystical gift. It's a weapon, one you create with your own hands. One you build every time you wake up and choose discipline over comfort, action over fear, service over selfish ambition. And when you wield it, you are unstoppable. But let me tell you this, if you ignore it, if you keep drifting, if you keep convincing yourself that one day will come, you will watch that version of you, the version you were meant to become, die before it ever lived. And you will carry that regret until your last breath. Because the only thing worse than failing is knowing you never even tried. Look around you. Most people are ghosts already. They wake up, go through the motions, bury their dreams under layers of fear and excuses, and call it life. They settle. They shrink. They wait for permission that will never come. Don't be one of them. You've been given the map. Serve. Stop making it about you. Anchor your discipline in the weight of others who need you strong. Face your pain. Stop hiding from the wounds that shaped you. They are not weaknesses. They are weapons. Listen. That voice in your gut isn't random. It's not noise. It's your highest self screaming at you to rise, to move, to build. And now you have a choice. A brutal, simple choice. You can stay where you are, comfortable, safe, forgotten. Or you can step into the fire. You can choose to carry the weight, to bleed for a purpose greater than yourself, to turn your scars into strength and your hesitation into action. This is not about motivation. Motivation fades. Motivation dies. This is about reality. And reality does not care if you're ready. It doesn't care how many reasons you've collected for why you can't start yet. It moves forward, always, with or without you. The question is, will you keep drifting or will you rise? Because one day, and you know this, there won't be another tomorrow to wait for. One day, the clock will hit 0. And when that day comes, when you take your last breath, you'll know whether you spent your life rising or wasting. So I'll ask you again, and this time, I expect an answer. What pain forged you? What purpose are you ignoring? And what will you do right now to rise into the life that's been waiting for you to claim it?